For many of us, a chance encounter with a celebrity is an exhilarating, unforgettable moment, a story to tell the grandchildren. But why do these brushes with fame leave us starstruck? Susan Spencer gets to the bottom of it.
Journalist Jancee Dunn admits it. She has been obsessed with rock star Stevie Nicks ever since high school.
I listened to Stevie's music for hours and hours and hours. I tried to dress in an ill-advised moment like Stevie, and she's just kind of bound up in my early years in a way that is really intense and deeply personal.
The years flew by, but her feelings never faded. So imagine her joy when in 1997, Harper's Bazaar assigned her to interview Stevie Nicks at her California home. Dunn began prepping immediately.
I rehearsed in front of the mirror. Hello, Stevie. Oh, hello, Steve. Hello, Steve. Hello, Stevie. Stevie, Jancee.
Did she understand what a fan you were?
I kept it together so I wouldn't creep her out. I don't think she fully knew what a fan that I was. I mean, you know, I knew to kind of pull it
probably
back,
smart.
right?
The interview even featured a surreal tour of the rock star's closet, filled with capes she had worn on stage and her famous platform boots.
You've said that this was one of the happiest afternoons of your life.
Yes.
Correct?
Oh, indubitably. Yes, it was. Stevie handed me this shirt.
That precious autographed T-shirt is her only keepsake today.
So where do you keep this? You have a bank vault or?
I have it folded very crisply in a little special place in my closet.
Did you at any point in this afternoon say to yourself, you know what, this is fun and this is great, but she's just a person like me?
No.
No.
Why would I think that? It's Stevie Nicks. Never did I think that. Because it's not true, Susan. She's different. She's otherworldly.
Why are we always so excited over celebrities?
In many ways, celebrities embody a lot of the things we all want. They have some combination of talent and good looks and wealth and renown.
Sociologist Carrie Ferris, a professor at Northern Illinois University, has a database of dozens of celebrity encounter stories.
There's a whole sort of category of encounters that involve physical contact, and fans really get excited about that.
I touched so-and-so?
Yes, I touched so-and-so. I gave them a hug, I shook their hand, I sat next to them on the bus.
And then what happens?
And then they get off the bus.
So much for that.
Right, it's very fleeting.
Yeah.
But it becomes the nugget of the celebrity sighting story.
Ferris says these stories typically follow a pattern. First comes disbelief. Is that really Beyoncé? Then strategizing. Should I go introduce myself? And then, often, embarrassment.
People get really worried about how stupid they must have sounded, looked, or seemed.
Perhaps for good reason. I think to most people, the mystery of these things is that the person feels a very strong connection, and yet there's no connection at all.
For sure. Psychologists will call this the parasocial. It's like a parasocial effect.
Parasocial is just a fancy term for the one-sided relationship between celebrity and fan, says University of Indianapolis professor Travis Cooper, who teaches in the philosophy and religion department.
The fan is going to typically know a whole lot about the star. Maybe their life history depends on the level, right, of fandom.
What time they feed their dog.
Exactly, yeah. And the star is going to know nothing, right, about that fan.
But that makes the intensity of it all the more mystifying.
It does. I think that's part of what makes it so surprising, so mystifying.
Cooper should know he's had his own celebrity encounter. One day, to his surprise, he spotted the actor Jesse Eisenberg at his local Y.
You've referred to this as two worlds colliding.
Yeah.
Explain to me what you meant by that.
I had my academic training, all that stuff kind of in my head that filters out how I see the world, all that on the one hand. And then on the other hand, I had this very visceral experience.
So on the other hand, it's, oh my God, it's Jesse Eisenberg.
Yeah.
Are you embarrassed by your response?
There was a slight embarrassment, almost a giddiness, almost a fanboy kind of reaction at some point.
You don't consider yourself a fanboy.
I'd like to not, but I feel like in that moment, that's kind of what happened.
It's amazing, though, in a crowd of people, if you just mention, oh, I just saw Meryl Streep, you'll stop the conversation.
It's a brush with person larger than life, and so maybe some of that glory from that person rubs off on you.
So we irrationally treasure these relationships, says Vance Ricks, a professor at Northeastern University in Boston.
It's a little funny or ironic to call it a relationship when it's so unidirectional. So what you're often doing is projecting a sense of being understood by that person or of knowing about that person.
As a philosophy professor, what does this tell you in general about the human condition?
Oh, that's an easy question. Many of us want some kind of attachment, and in some cases we may create that.
Journalist Jancee Dunn felt that attachment, especially when after she interviewed Stevie Nicks, the rock star graciously invited her to be an overnight house guest.
I thought, okay, should I, shouldn't I? And
Wait a minute, why would you even think, should I or shouldn't I? This is supposedly your dream, right?
it seemed invasive, it seemed weird.
So you said no?
I said no, and I got in the cab, and as I'm pulling away, I mean, I couldn't have been 2 blocks down the street where I thought, you idiot.
She feels the same regret decades later, and even wrote about it for the New York Times, where she's a columnist for the Well section.
Even now, if I'm at the grocery store or the pharmacy and I hear Edge of 17 or one of Stevie's hits, I get a pain in my heart. I get a pain in my heart.
If perchance Stevie Nicks likes Sunday Morning and watches this show, what would you like to say to her?
Stevie, if you were to invite me over to your house again, I would happily spend the night. I would clean up in the morning, and I would be a very good guest.
Okay. Just wait for that invitation.